Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back once again to Fat Cat Collections. Today I got another Nubeo watch view, and I'll tell you, Nubeo is really just kind of, I don't know, they're just doing really well in the watch community. I've just based on my referrals and some of the conversations I'm having about the brand, people like them. And for you collectors out there who love brands like Aragon and Invicta, and let's face it, those I think of all the brand watches out there are probably two of the most collectible. And I don't mean that as far as like collecting it and having long-term value. I mean and some could, right? One doesn't know what the price is going to be on any given day on anything really. When I say collectible, I mean people like what they're getting, and so they keep buying more, and they want to have each one in their collection. Pretty cool. Not a lot of brands can do that, right? Not a lot of brands are capable of doing that, right? I mean, you see a lot of brands, they'll buy like one Pagani design, maybe two. Don't get me wrong, I love Pagani, but, they don't keep going, and so it's nice to see. So today I got a flagship. If that is even the right word for it. This is one of Nubeo's. Well, it's a Tourbillon. So for anybody in the watch community, if you collect watches or you know anything about watches, and I don't mean like me, I'm not an expert by any means. I mean if you just are passionate about adding to your collection, a Tourbillon is kind of one of those things that eventually, no matter where you were at in your journey, you're going to want one, right? And there's no reason for it, right? There's really no reason, to want to spend the extra money for it, other than the fact that you have one in your collection. Now, you guys have seen a lot of videos on my channel, a lot of different brands. I haven't reviewed a lot of Tourbillons just because they are expensive, and it's not every day I get to get one in my collection. If you haven't checked out the video I did on the Age Locker Tourbillon, they were nice enough to sponsor a video on Fat Cat Collections. Check it out. But that one doesn't get a lot of wrist time for me just because it's a smaller dress watch. This bad boy will. So I'm not even going to mess around anymore. I got the box. I'm going to show you that stuff. But this one is the Manta. And I have reviewed the Manta in several different color variations. But this one is their Tourbillon. Check that out. I think this was the perfect watch. Well, they do have other Tourbillons too. They have about 2 or 3 different other models, right? If this isn't your fancy. But I think this was the perfect one. And what they did with this, and what I noticed with this particular Manta as opposed to the other Mantas I have, like in the kind of like the copper color, the blue, I think I got it in another black one with a yellow face, I think. I kind of forget, honestly. But I don't know, this particular one, the way the crystal looks, it actually is domed in such a way that there's like a magnifying effect. And so it really makes you see the Tourbillon even more. It makes the Tourbillon look larger than it actually is. So I think that was a fantastic idea. I don't know if it was intentional or what, but really cool. Now, they do make this in a couple different color variations. I'm not going to bore you guys with, I may throw a picture up here. I probably will right now. But they, I don't want to talk about every single one, but it is available in different color variations. I almost went with the stainless steel. But, I have so many stainless steel watches. I wanted something that's really going to make the Tourbillon pop. And so I was like showing my mom, and I was like, which color? I can't decide. She's like, go with the black. And so that's what I did. And I'm glad I did, because it really makes that skeletonized Tourbillon face just really pop. It's clean, it's simple, and it just really, like I've said before with some of my Invictas, right? With, for instance, the abalone face with all black, right? It really makes the abalone pop. It becomes the kind of the focus and the center point of the watch. And then after you start looking at it, you notice, how big it is and how bold and all the other different design aspects. But I love the fact that they made an all black one just with that Tourbillon just popping out of here. They didn't really go too far with, a lot of branding on this one here. It does say Nubeo. It's very, very slight across. What I would say that there's sort of there's 2 faces on this watch, or not faces. You have the face of the watch, which is resting right above the Tourbillon. It's all clear. I like the fact it's all clear, so you can see that skeletonized movement, all the parts, but real subtle on there. In black, it says Nubeo. I like that they didn't make it pop at all, right? The focus is the Tourbillon. Then, of course, you do have the word Tourbillon, and, of course, you have 200 meters of water resistance and kind of like a faint blue. Big, huge hands on this. Even though, you have a lot going on with the skeletonized Tourbillon face, you can still read this watch. And you can see that Tourbillon just spinning around. You do have an exhibition window on the back. Very cool. Absolutely love it. And hopefully you guys are getting kind of the magnification effect on camera. It really, when you look at this thing, it looks kind of like you're looking through kind of like a a Cyclops for a date window, right? So pretty cool. Now this is a hand wind watch, and I believe this has an 80-hour power reserve. Now, let me just hit you guys with the negative, right? They don't have the movement listed. And I know I mentioned it. All I can do is keep mentioning it and hope that they change the website. If you need to know before buying this, and I think you may want to, get a hold of me. Now, this is, you know, when you look at tourbillons, the price is all over the place, right? I think the cheapest tourbillon you could find is the Age Locker for about $1,300. But this one here is going to run you more. Again, use my coupon code. You know, keep in contact with me. They're always having sales, and one never knows what price this may go for. But right now, I think this is listed at $3,300 on their site. Again, use my coupon code. I think my coupon code is like 15 or 20% off. Just check it out. I'll put it in the description. Take advantage of it if you're going to buy it. So let me get a couple close-ups here. Now, as far as that movement here, I'm going to take a guess. I'm pretty sure that this is the same movement being used in the Age Locker. Now, full disclosure, I don't know that to be 100% certain, but when I look at the tourbillon, when I look at the shape, and I look at kind of the skeletonized, kind of, I guess you would call it the case of the tourbillon, it's identical to the Age Locker. Now, even the Age Locker, they say that theirs is like, I believe it's listed as like, it says Age Locker Original. And when you look at the movement here, they just say manual winding tourbillon. So, again, when I look at how this is designed, very, very similar as far as the location of all the gears. Again, I don't know with 100% certainty, but it is a tourbillon and it is badass. Again, all matte black. You do have a little bit of mirror polishing down, kind of like the edges of the center links. A little bit of Nubeo branding on the lugs here. Signed Nubeo crown. I mean, these things I'm mentioning are really standard. For those folks who want to hear that bezel turn, I think it's pretty funny. Off the subject, well, kind of on the subject of bezel turning. Some guy put up a short the other day on a real Rolex and a fake Rolex, and he turned the bezel. He said, which one's the real one, right? It's just amazing. You get just a mix of, oh, this one's real. Oh, and then the guy's like, oh, if you can't tell with the one on the left is real, you've never owned a Rolex. It's like, give me a break, you know. I mean, it's so ridiculous. But for those who want to hear it, and I joke about that, it does have a nice bezel action. There's no back play. There's no nothing. No slop at all. And again, just because a bezel has a little more play in it, doesn't mean it's garbage. Doesn't mean it's a cheap watch. It's just how they engineered it. I have a Spinnaker right here, another Dartmouth brand. And again, much more difficult to turn. Different kind of ratchet sound. And this one is more of a slippery bezel. Stay tuned for this watch. You'll be seeing another Dumas. Pretty cool in that vintage green and kind of antique white. But anyway, again, exceptional bezel. You do have a sapphire crystal on this. It does have an anti-reflective coating. I'm glad at least they put the sapphire on it, because when you're looking at watches, this price point is just an expectation to have sapphire. In my opinion, again, these are all my opinions, I don't think that it really makes any bit of difference. At least for me personally, wearing my watches, I've never scratched a crystal, no matter what they're made of. So if you're super clumsy, you know, if you're super clumsy, I don't care what your crystal's made of. You probably shouldn't wear a $3,000 watch, right? I mean, bottom line. But again, you got the sapphire. We do have a 21mm case thickness, nice chunky, nice wrist presence. For those of you who like the other Dartmouth brand RGMT, the Ohio I've reviewed, it's one of the most popular RGMT watches. This is very similar. So if you like the RGMT brand, you like the Ohio, give the Manta a try. It is, even if you don't get it in Tourbillon, check out the other ones. It's awesome. It is all stainless steel, of course. It does have a black coating. I'm not sure what the coating is on this, but compared to, you know, anything else I've had, whether it be Invicta, Aragon, it's all pretty similar. Very durable. And of course, 50mm case diameter. So for you boys who like the big watches, this is going to give you that big watch fix here. You know, it definitely has it. And just awesome looking. And again, keep in mind, it is a hand wind. So one thing to note, if you do get this, it does have a screw down crown, so when you do wind it, make sure you don't wind it all the way. It will stop, right? And don't overwind it. You don't want to break it. But what I've noticed is if you wind it all the way, remember you have to bring the crown back in. So if you wind it the full wind, you won't be able to wind it enough to screw down the crown. Be very careful that if you do that, leave the crown pulled until the watch kind of winds down a little, then screw the crown down. You don't want to, see, I just had it on, let's see. Yeah, so I had it on for about an hour. That was enough for me to thread the crown back down. So just don't jump in the hot tub with the crown out. You know, it's not the best idea. I just noticed also in the back there is a manta ray, kind of like pencil sketched on the crystal, but it's really hard to see by the video. But I like the fact it's very subtle. I like that they didn't go overboard with the branding on this. The real appeal to this is the tourbillon movement. So it is absolutely stunning. So let me throw on the wrist here in a second. I do want to show you the box. Love the fact they did one of their diver cases. I love these cases. I will take this case over any Aragon or Invicta case any day of the week. And they're consistent with it. I believe any watch on bracelet comes in one of these cases. But I have had, let's see. Actually, no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. The swell actually does not come in this case. So Nubeo really should offer every watch in one of these dive cases. They're awesome. I repurpose them for ammunition or for, like I said before many times, going on the boat. Pull the foam out. You have something to put your electronics in. It's not huge. You know, it doesn't take up a lot of space. I love the orange on this. This is the first dive case I have that they've done the orange in. You got the Nubeo logo right on top, kind of like in a, kind of a, I don't know, kind of raised letters. It's sort of some kind of metal sticker on there, you know, nothing really insane, but it's cool. And then of course these are limited edition, number 93 of 125. To me, that's a real limited edition. You know, a lot of brands, Nubeo does it too. They'll be like, oh, it's a limited edition, we make 500, 600. You know, that's okay, I get it's limited, but you know, 125 is really limited. So I got number 93. Pop the card out, you do get the Tourbillon instruction manual, but I don't know, you know, what do you really need that for? You know, you're basically going to wind the watch, set it, screw the crown down. So, but you know, it's like anything else, they do give you that. And of course, your warranty card. You know, pretty cool. Same box that they use on a lot of their watches, but I do, you know, you guys know I dig the dive cases, especially these because they're actually extremely durable. Like you can throw this and it'll hit the ground and it's not going to break. At least, yeah, I hope it doesn't break. I wouldn't do that, but it's more of like a softer kind of plastic, right? It's more of like a Pelican case. You know, they're very durable. So very, very cool. Love it. You know, what can I say? It does come with a cardboard box around it. You know, this is your presentation you're gonna get, and in that case is on the inside. Just orange Nubeo. You know, pretty simple. I know I never, you guys know, I never really get too involved in what the case looks like. But again, if you are going to gift this to somebody, it is a nice kind of presentation, right? So let's just go ahead and check that out. Now, as far as lume on the bezel here, it does have some lume, but they don't list what kind of lume it is. And again, I am sorry. I will apologize on Nubeo's behalf, just because these are the kind of things when you're spending, whether you're spending $100 or you're spending, you know, $3,000, it's nice to know what kind of movement's in there, you know, exactly, you know, what kind of lume is on there. And guys who, you know, guys who start out collecting, even, well, I don't really, those aren't deal breakers for me. Like, I don't need to know that this has a specific lume, but it's a little different for me because I'm getting comped on these. Like, I'm getting them for free to share with you guys as part of my agreement with Nubeo. So, you know, again, it's I don't want, you know, I don't want to just pretend like that's not a factor here, right? But I can tell you right now, I bought many other watch brands with my own hard-earned money that I don't have agreements with those companies, and I never really care much about the lume because it's not really something I need, you know. I don't, it's not something I depend on to tell time or to use the bezel. If it has it, great. If it doesn't, I'm not concerned with it. So if you are, you know, a collector who, you know, is what I would consider like, I don't use the word whore, but like a spec whore, right? You have to have all these things. Then I understand that, and I'm not dissing it, but for me personally, I don't really care. But it is a stunning watch, and anybody who adds this tourbillon to their collection is going to like it, you know. And again, I was really hard pressed on going black or the silver. They have a couple other ones, again, you know, link in description, check it out. But I think, you know, if you do add this to your collection, you will not be disappointed. So let's throw on the wrist. So I am about 5'8". I weigh about 170 pounds. I have a 7-inch wrist. This is what it looks like on a guy my size, my height, and my weight. 50 millimeter, again, on a 7-inch wrist is a big, bold watch. I say it all the time, we get desensitized after wearing 55 millimeter watches. I think a 50 is like the perfect size for a guy who, you know, wants something a little bit bigger wrist presence without going, you know, too extreme. So this definitely has it. The Manta is a beast of a watch, And I think anybody who's added, whether it's the quartz, I think they make the quartz version, or the standard automatic version, you know, you're not going to be disappointed. I, of course, would encourage you to get the Tourbillon, but you know, it's a lot of money. I mean, let's not pretend that that's not a factor there. $3 grand for a watch is a lot of money, but use my coupon code. You know, everybody has a different budget. Everybody comes from different backgrounds. And, you know, if you can afford it, by all means, get it. This one will definitely get a lot of wrist time. There is something to be said about that skeletonized face. And remember, a tourbillon isn't necessarily going to be something that, you know, like you're not going to have, let me make a Rolex comparison, right? You're not going to have, just like I joke a lot of times, say, oh, nobody's going to go up to you wearing a Rolex and be like, oh, man, what kind of watch is that? It may happen, right? But it's not going to happen as much as you wearing something like this, right? This just draws you in more. And again, go looking at like a Sea Hunter. This isn't going to draw people in like a Sea Hunter. It's just, it's so big, it just people notice it more, you know what I mean? Especially you got something real colorful, a lot of gold, you know what I mean? You know, you guys don't understand what I'm saying. But, you know, a guy who is a watch collector would notice this, like, because if you're not versed with, you know, different movements and knowing, you know, if you're not a watch guy, you're just going to be like, ooh, it's skeletonized. You won't necessarily know that it's a tourbillon unless you recognize a tourbillon. But you'll know it's a tourbillon, and any watch collector, anybody who's into watches will know. So, pretty stunning. Arguably, I think it's the best version. Again, it really, that black makes that tourbillon pop, and I think this was a fantastic color combination. Beautiful. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you, Nubeo, once again for the collaboration. Stay tuned for more Spinnaker watches coming my way. Again, the one I just shared with the antique white and green bezel. Not a green guy, but this one really called me. Had to have it. Stay tuned for the Pepsi variation. And, of course, we have another Spinnaker. I think it's the... drawing a blank. But anyway, stay tuned. I'm going to start rotating back a little bit and reviewing some of the older Invictas I have, too, because content kind of... you know, it kind of fizzles away, so it's nice to, there's always somebody new coming into the watch community, right? And so I want to make sure that they, you know, not just for them, but for me too. I want the views, right? But there's a lot of stuff I get it all the time. Like, even people who follow me all the time be like, hey, I got this new Invicta. It's like, dude, I have that. Like, I reviewed that years ago. So check out my old content. There's all kinds of good stuff there. Again, you know, like anything, you know, my styles change over the years. Sometimes you'll see videos like neck down. But, you know, anything I can do to help you guys out, I'm always around by email. So hit me up, drop me a comment. I'm here to help. Again, Nubeo, thank you for the generosity, and stay tuned for more. Later.